Shiromani Kevalananda Kevalananda Kanda Kevalananda Kanda Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrita Vishwasa Kori Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudrita Vishwasa Kori Vishaya Chariya Sera Semachiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Vishaya Chariya Sera Semachiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari Dekho re bhai Tribhuvane nai Eman doyal data Dekho re bhai Tribhuvane nai Eman doyal data Pashu Pakhi Chure Pashana Vidare Shuni Jara Gunagata Pashu Pakhi Chure Pashana Vidare Shuni Jara Gunagata Shuni Jara Gunagata Shuni Jara Sangsare Machiya Rohili Bodhiya Se Pade Nai Hilasha Sangsare Machiya Rohili Bodhiya Se Pade Nai Hilasha Apana Karama Bunjaya Shamana Kahoye Chanadasa Apana Karama Punjaya Shamana Kahaya Lochanadasa Kahaya Lochanadasa Kahaya Lochanadasa Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Gaura Nityananda Daya Ki Jai. This is a song from Lochan Das Thakur, glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu as Parama Karuna Bahudui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra, that among all the avatars that are existing, that Gauranga Nityananda are Parama Karuna, the most merciful. And so in the other verses, continuously glorifying also the chanting, encouraging the sadhaka to engage in the process of devotional service. It's a beautiful song. Srila Prabhupada also wrote a very nice translation, purport to it. So, Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Anda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So welcome to Chaitanya Charitamrita class this morning. We continue in the Madhya-līlā, the chapter 18, text number 117. I hope I get it right with the reading. Lokakaye tomate kabunah jivamati. Lakahe tomate. Lokakaye tomate kabunah jivamati. Krishna satrishna tumara akriti prakriti. Krishna satrisha tumara akriti prakriti. Lokakaye tomate kabunahe jivamati. Krishna satrisha tumara akriti prakriti. Lokakaye tomate kabunahe jivanati. Krishna satrisha tumara akriti prakriti. Lokakaye tomate kabunahe jivanati. Krishnara Sutrasha Tomara Akriti Prakriti Lokakahe. The people said, Tomate, unto you, Kabhu, at any time, Nahe, there is not, Jivamati, considering an ordinary living being, Krishnera Satrisha, like Lord Krishna, Tomara, your, Akriti, bodily features, Prakriti, characteristics. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the difference between an ordinary living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the people said, no one considers you an ordinary human being. You are like Krishna in every respect, in both bodily features and characteristics. I'm going to continue some verses since there's no purport. I just go directly by the English translation. By your bodily features, we can see that you are none other than the son of Nanda Maharaj, although the golden luster of your body has covered your original complexion. As the aroma of deer musk cannot be concealed by wrapping it in a cloth, your characteristics as the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be concealed by any means. Indeed, your characteristics are uncommon and beyond the imagination of an ordinary living being. Simply by seeing you, the entire universe becomes mad with ecstatic love for Krishna. If they see you just once, even women, children, old men, meat-eaters, and members of the lowest caste immediately chant the holy name of Krishna, dance like madmen, and become spiritual masters capable of delivering the whole world. Apart from seeing you, whoever listens to your holy name is made mad with ecstatic love for Krishna and is able to deliver the three worlds. Simply by hearing your holy name, dog-eaters become holy saints. Your uncommon potencies cannot be described in words. To say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face, even a person born in a family of dog-eaters becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. Here's a short purport. We come to that later. It says, for an example of this verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.33.6, see Madhya-līlā chapter 16, text 186. So we'll hear some more from there. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Darati Svabhadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vagishayasya vadhane, Lakshmiryasya chavakshasi, Yasya te hridaye samvit, Tam narasimham aham bhaje, Pralada hridayaladam, Bhaktavitya vidaram, Sharatindurjim vande, Parindra vandanam harim. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just completed giving some instructions on the difference between the Jiva and Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. And if we read the last few verses, it is about distinguishing the Jiva as minute from Krishna or Bhagavan as the Supreme, or like there's this terms Anu and Vibhu. Vibhu is immeasurably big and Anu is very tiny, small. And how the living entity is distinct from Krishna by being, having a tendency to be influenced by the material energy, whereas Krishna is never touched by material energy. since he is the master of that energy. And we hear it so often that Krishna himself, also Srila Prabhupada, is repeatedly and elaborately going in this direction, pointing out these distinctions, in the same way as there's a lot of emphasis on pointing out how Krishna or God, the Supreme Truth, is a person. And devotees who study the books or are in this movement and hear classes often, they sometimes perhaps feel a bit satiated, sometimes maybe over-satiated by the emphasis on this topic. I hope you can tolerate a few more sentences that I would like to add or like contribute to this topic. Since I was contemplating how it was before I came to know Krishna consciousness, or like if we look at, for those of us who preach or like often get in touch with people who don't know the Krishna conscious theology and philosophy yet, and who maybe are coming from different backgrounds and are interested in the yoga practice, in Buddhism, in some forms of mysticism, or are simply agnostics or atheists. So they come from a different point of experience in life also, how they look at Krishna or like God. They don't even use the name Krishna, but they might be preferred to refer to the divine as something which then usually goes in direction impersonal, which makes sense if you think of that our experience or range of experience is always in the conditioned world, and as soon as it comes to something human or a person, a personality, naturally we cannot imagine how this can be a perfect person without flaws, or like even being free from any laws of nature. It's not in our experience. We don't see any person who has no limitations, who has no shortcomings, who has no faults, that will not disappoint in a way, or who will not, be free from the four defects your Prabhupada describes. Having imperfect senses, making mistakes, having tendency to cheat, and being in illusion, because one is small and one can be deluded by material energy since one is tiny. So now, but we come here with presenting a God picture, a God concept of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is actually a term that was particularly coined by Srila Prabhupada. Before, we don't see that really in any religion, or like even, I don't experience it at least in also circles of Hinduism, Indian people, that there's a phrase like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which indicates already that there are several personalities of Godhead, among which one is apparently the Supreme, right? And it is like that. So if you look in our theology, we have a complex idea of who Krishna is and how his different forms, coming with this whole Achintya Bheda Tattva philosophy, are not different from him, and that they're considered completely transcendental, which means literally beyond any material nature, or like beyond any material qualities, which is again outside of our experience. Since we do not perceive anything beyond matter, we can logically approach the topic and have a concept of transcendence, but hardly we have an experience. And now we have the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which gives us an account of how this transcendental person was acting in this world, performing his pastimes. Where again another aspect is there, that God acts, but he's not impelled to act by the three modes of nature, that he's acting simply out of his sweet will, and it has nothing to do with material energy. Also this is hard to grasp, and it requires some faith, or some ability to trust in scripture that this is true, that this is really how it is. Because naturally what happens if something appears to be what it seems to be, we think it is it. In psychology you have the principle, if people stand close to each other, you think they belong together. That's just some kind of mechanism of the mind. He connects things. Or like if people look similar to each other, let's say if Lucas and Philip would look very similar, I might assume, oh, you are brothers, or because things that look similar also being somehow connected to that. So naturally, if it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, any form of Krishna, and we somehow must accommodate it in what we have in our material experience, and somehow to put it in some category, some box, so that we can deal with it. Otherwise, if it would be completely outside of any possible box we have, we would hardly be able to relate to it, because it's something which really completely beyond on our experience and our availability. In philosophy, this question is asked: what relevance does it have for me if it's completely beyond my ability to know, my ability to perceive? Then it would be the same as if it doesn't exist. Something becomes only relevant if it is somehow or other perceivable to us, or at least we can grasp that it is existing. So something that is inconceivable, achintya, we have a big challenge for our mind to accept that. So therefore many people feel, I don't have faith in that. I don't believe in a transcendental God because I don't know. And some might even a bit cynically state that it is very convenient that we have so many accounts like Chaitanya Charitamrita, where the pastimes of Mahaprabhu are there, or the Bhagavatam, and it's all in the past, or long in the future to come. So we don't have a present, so to say, form of God here that can be, approached, or where we can have a reference. Aha, this is how it's in scripture, and I can see it, I can perceive it. So we are asked to have faith in the accounts of, in this case, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami and the other acharyas about the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. And from scripture we understand that Krishna is actually always present, just the shape changes. So we hear this in these verses. We also heard the glorification of the holy name, and Mahaprabhu was there to embody the devotee and the chanting. And even though he left this world, or like the vision, our vision at least, he remained as the holy name. And this is actually the form of Krishna we refer to, where we say this is Krishna in this age, and through him we can perceive him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here being glorified. You are like Krishna in every respect, in both bodily features and characteristics. So there's guna, rupa, and lila, these things, qualities, forms, and pastimes. And now there are, to these people there, they are available. They can be part even in the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. They can see his form, and they distinguish him, saying, you are no other than Krishna himself, only your complexion changed. And these features can be available also to the living entity who is not around at the time of Mahaprabhu through the holy name. This is actually the big, or one of the big significances of the holy name. Prabhupada also says this on many points. They're actually, or like the Chikshastakam itself, Mahaprabhu is stating that in your names you have invested all your energies and potencies, everything, whole Krishna is in the holy name, and a person who qualifies by proper pure chanting can or will be able to connect to Krishna's Swarup, to his guna qualities, to his leelas, to his pastimes, to his dham. Also in the Brahma Samhita, we find how the Gayatri Mantra is a potent mantra that reveals even a pastime of Krishna. Particularly the Gopal Mantra is mentioned, and Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur is quoting also Jiva Goswami, explaining how if one can really focus on this mantra, and then there's an even hexagonal way of, there's a technical explanation of how this mantra is to be imagined, and that a person by pure chanting, on meditating only on one leela, will access through this mantra the Krishna pastime. So we often see Maha Mantra in the first place, it's a means of purification. We try to get into some emotional connection also with the name by chanting it affectionately, by chanting it attentively. And at the same time, let's be aware there's actually no bounds to what this name can offer if the chanter will, by mercy and by endeavor, connect to the holy name, because we also say Harinam Prabhu. It's Krishna in the form of the name, which is willing and able to be in a relationship with us. And we say, yes, we become servants of the holy name by dedicating our time, efforts to chant it and glorify it. I would like to stick a bit with the features that I mentioned here from Mahaprabhu, and then come more to the holy name. Here they say, you're not different by characteristics and, what was it they say? Features and characteristics. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is explaining how one can or should imagine the actual complexion of Krishna. Often you have Shyama Sundara, Shyam is blackish or cloud, and often Krishna is painted pitch black. We see that. We see also some deities who might be wooden, who are like really black, sometimes more darkish blue, black blue. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is explaining that the so-called Atasi flower is that flower that we should take as a comparison to understand or contemplate on the color of Krishna. Although the color is itself also transcendental, it's still the comparison doesn't fully appreciate the color. But I have some, I hope you can recognize it here. This is an Atasi flower. And you see this kind of bit violet bluish, like very beautiful. So this one should imagine how Krishna's complexion is. And then here in the verses it is explained, you're the same Krishna, only your complexion changed. So, and of course let's shortly have a look also what this complexion in the material world looks like. There also the comparison is made to molten gold, because this is the complexion of Srimati Radharani. It's we can call it also the color for love of God, since this is what is Radharani is. And we have this, this is how Mahaprabhu somehow looks like in terms of complexion. We have a golden, you can see it? I don't know, it's just a bigger, I didn't get it. Yes, I mean that's what it says, and so far it's a bit like within the fact, but yeah, molten gold is like, yeah. There were a few pictures, but some were like coming out of some industrial pot in a. So I felt I don't choose that picture. However, you get a bit of the visual of the name. Or like of the form of God. So this is already wonderful, just contemplating on how Krishna has a complexion that is always extremely enchanting and actually completely not of this world like anything else, since Krishna is not from this world. The world is actually from him. He manifests it. One of his features is, as Vishnu, is that he manifests the material nature. And text 118 says, by your bodily features we can see that you are none other than the son of Nanda Maharaj, although the golden luster of your body has covered your original complexion. And then they say, as the aroma of deer musk cannot be concealed by wrapping it in a cloth, your characteristics as the supreme personality of Godhead cannot be concealed by any means. Indeed, your characteristics are uncommon and beyond the imagination of an ordinary living being. Simply by seeing you, the entire universe becomes mad with ecstatic love for Krishna. And the Nectar of Devotion is giving us a very detailed descriptions about these features of the Lord, which shall help us to create an image as far as possible, that as our mind is capable, to create an image of this Lord and to become amazed by his qualities and also appreciate these qualities as transcendental. In the beginning, of course, all mental activities are not, of course, in a sense, spiritual vision when we practice. we're supposed to imagine it. Our mind has to manufacture an image. Like also so many paintings we see, they are the attempts and endeavors of devotees to put into graphics what they hear from Shastra, based also on their abilities, on their own mental capacity to imagine and to be creative. And at the same time, some people might feel in one picture, oh, this is not how I think of Krishna. Others feel, wow, this is exactly how I imagine it as well. So everyone is a bit individual in how he sees mentally or emotionally the Supreme Lord. And some deities might speak more to us because we feel that resembles the qualities way better. Or other deities we feel, oh no, this doesn't look like Krishna at all. And so it can be different. And sometimes the outward form doesn't at all affect, where people feel in a mystic way completely strongly connected to a deity, as Krishna in a beyond like how it looks aesthetically, so to speak, Since it's Krishna himself, and we should actually not look at the aesthetic features, but more like as the ontological point that this is Krishna being present in this murti. And we find that Krishna has different qualities which he cannot be concealed, and his main quality, which also his name in a sense indicates, Krishna the all-attractive, is his beauty. The first of his 64 qualities is beauty of his bodily features, and the 64th quality is exquisite beauty of his whole being. So the beauty is something that where Krishna excels just any other form, because no other form can compare in beauty to Krishna. And as described here, beautiful bodily features, Prabhupada describes any comparison to the different parts of the Lord's body, to different material objects, cannot factually be a complete comparison. Ordinary persons who cannot understand how exalted are the bodily features of the Lord are simply given a chance to understand by material comparison. So Srila Prabhupada also emphasizes here that we cannot necessarily take it literally, and it is like an attempt to compare the beauty we can see in the material world to the beauty of Krishna. It is said that Krishna's face is as beautiful as the moon. His thighs are powerful, just like the trunks of elephants. His arms are just like two pillars. His palms are expanded like lotus flowers. His chest is like a doorway. His hips are dense, and the middle of his body is a terrace. So if you look at that, we end up maybe imagining a building, with all this, if you take it just literally. But here what is meant, extract the aesthetic or like the sublime feature of that, and then we get an idea how Krishna is that. If you think of powerful as an elephant trunk, you don't think, an elephant trunk depends maybe on taste, but the elephant skin is not very beautiful or attractive. It's like a really wrinkly, grayish thing, so we should not think Krishna has arms like an elephant or like thighs like an elephant trunk, but more like it's powerful like that. Or like the terrace, imagine like it's just that it's broad and accommodating, like where people rest, so etc. In this way, one can extract the features that are sublime and special. So, and actually, interestingly, the qualities mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, they build up one on another. It's interesting how also the chronology of the features is also carefully selected. He said Auspicious Characteristics is the next feature, and here Srila Prabhupada writes, there are certain characteristics of different limbs which are considered to be very auspicious and are fully present in the body of the Lord. In this connection, one friend of Nanda Maharaj, speaking about Lord Krishna's auspicious bodily symptoms, said, "My dear king of the cowherds, I can find 32 auspicious symptoms on the body of your son. I'm wondering how this boy could have taken his birth in the family of cowherd men." Generally, when Lord Krishna appears, he does so in the family of Kshatriyas, as did Lord Ramachandra, and sometimes in the family of Brahmins. But Krishna accepted the role as the son of Nanda Maharaj, despite the fact that Nanda belonged to the Vaishya community. So he said, he continued, the boy has a reddish luster in 7 places. His eyes, you also understand that he has, inside of his eyes, there's a bit reddishness. The ends of his hands, the ends of his legs, we see also the palms and the, what is called on the feet in English? Soles, yeah, they're a bit reddish. His palate, I don't know now what is this in German? Is the lip? Ah, okay. This is the Gaumen. Ah, okay. Here, his lips, his tongue, and his nails. A reddish luster in these 7 places is considered to be auspicious. 3 parts of his body are very broad: his waist, forehead, and chest. 3 parts of his body are short: his neck, thighs, and genitals. 3 parts of his body are very deep. His voice, interestingly, a part of his body, his voice, is very deep. Intelligence and navel, these things are deep. We can also understand Krishna's voice is something that is also, if you look at the kirtan pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we understand there are so many kirtan parties with hundreds of people, and at that time no microphones were around, and everyone still could hear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanting loudly. And at the same time, one of his mystic features, he was present in each kirtan party at the same time. All the devotees, they saw him at their kirtan party, chanting and dancing. Like similar like as the gopis, although Krishna is kind of one, each different gopi felt and saw Krishna dancing with her alone. So that's one of the wonderful qualities of Krishna. He's available for each jiva, and each jiva has the feeling Krishna is with me only. So there's no lack of providing all necessities to every living entity. 3 parts of his body are very deep, this we heard. There is highness in 5 parts of his body: his nose, arms, ears, forehead, and thighs. In 5 parts of his body there is fineness. His skin, the hairs on his head and on the other parts of his body. His teeth and fingertips are very fine. The aggregate of all his bodily features is manifest only in the bodies of great personalities. So we see there's the beauty of Krishna himself, the features, and they're compared to sublime and powerful examples in the material world. And now it gets more into also details of this body, of these limbs. You can get really fine graphic, actually, if you really contemplate on it, and you see also paintings. If the artist is very attentive, you find all of these things in there, you see all the details. And they said Krishna also on his hand and feet, he has particular lines, these fate lines, as we all have, which give indication who he is. Because they said a person, there's this palmistry, but the other, what's called this science where you read the face and the body. Yeah, physiognomics, whatever it's in English. And this reveals a person's personality, actually, if you know how to read the body. So in here they saw Krishna, you cannot conceal who you are. Like your features are, they betray, we say, not betray, but they give you away. We can see you are the Supreme Lord. You're just in a golden complexion. And so the fate lines on the palm are also considered to be auspicious bodily symptoms. In this connection, one old gopi informed King Nanda, "Your son possesses various wonderful fate lines in his palms. There are designs of lotus flowers and wheels on his palms. And on his soles there are signs of a flag, thunderbolt, fish, rod for controlling elephants, and a lotus flower. Please observe how auspicious these signs are." And each of these signs, there's a whole explanation by the acharyas. I just remember some fragments of it. That there, For example, the thunderbolt is said that Krishna crushes the ego, and this is represented by the thunderbolt, like who cracks open any ego. And the rod for controlling an elephant, the elephant is the mind. So Krishna is also controlling the mind of anyone. And then therefore each of these, of the fish, I don't remember it, but therefore every marking on his hands and souls that resembles certain qualities Krishna has, or like things Krishna does in relationship also to the jivas. So we have already quite a picture of Krishna's bodily appearance, and then it goes to that he is pleasing, which is also connected to that. Also, it means three qualities already that build up on another. And Prabhupada writes, beautiful bodily features which automatically attract the eye are called ruchira, pleasing. Krishna possesses these attractive features of ruchira in his personal features. And there's a quote from the Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, verse 13. The Supreme Personality of Godhead in his pleasing dress appeared at the scene of the sacrificial arena when King Yudhishthira was performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. All important personalities from different parts of the universe had been invited to the sacrificial arena, and all of them, upon beholding Krishna there, considered that the Creator had ended all of his craftsmanship in the creation of his particular body of Krishna. So the Creator excelled by creating it himself. So that's an anyway interesting question, like that. It's not to be answered or not possible to answer. Yeah, how did Krishna come into existence? We cannot answer that. So here it's assumed it's to glorify him, saying, you're the supreme creator and you excelled most in the creation of yourself. You know, having your own body and pleasing. It's interesting, we can see that also in the mature world. Of course, as soon as someone displays as bodily features, as it here mentioned, you know, beautiful bodily features, auspicious characteristics, then this is pleasing to us. We feel automatically, in German you have this word sympathisch, but I don't know, in English that's different. Sympathetic, I think it's not the same. No, I think it's different. But anyway, you feel like more like drawn to and positively inclined to the person. You appreciate it, you know, because it's naturally attractive. So Krishna, when he's there, no one feels in a way averse like that, you know. Even those who do internally actually feel very attracted to Krishna, often the demons. And then their envy and anger is stronger. But at the same time, like the example of the wrestlers is given here when we hear the next quality. And he's also very effulgent, like very shining. And the effulgence pervading the universe is considered to be the rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The supreme abode of Krishna is throwing off the effulgence known as Brahmajyoti, and that effulgence is emanating from his body. The luster of the hosts of jewels fixed on the chest of the Lord can defeat even the luster of the sun, and still when compared with the bodily luster of the Lord, the crest of jewels appears to be only as bright as one of the stars in the sky. And therefore the transcendental influence of Krishna is so great that it can defeat anyone. When Krishna was present in the sacrificial arena of his enemy King Kamsa, the wrestlers present, although appreciating the softness of the body of Sri Krishna, were nevertheless afraid and perturbed when they thought of engaging with him in battle. So although they were to be fighting Krishna, they appreciated his bodily features, and they at the same time, okay, here it's more, they were also very in awe. You know, they saw his effulgence and his power, and they were experiencing these different feelings. So we have these three features, and then comes strong, ever youthful, and so on. So the qualities build up on one another, and there's so many beautiful examples that give us more and more of a concrete picture of that Supreme Lord. And this transcendental influence mentioned here in effulgence is also pointed out here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita when we now read these verses, where it is explained, if they see you just once, even women, children, old men, meat-eaters, and members of the lowest caste, immediately chant the holy name of Krishna, dance like madmen, and become spiritual masters capable of delivering the whole world. So Krishna is we can, as he is compared to the sun, which dissipates all darkness, and Krishna as being pure truth and transcendental knowledge personified, dissipates all ignorance. In the light of Krishna, a jiva is capable to fully see and recognize itself. Unless one is so very inimical that Krishna first has to kill one's material body, like maybe personally, if one is blessed. But yeah, here you hear about this influence of Krishna. And apart from seeing you, whoever listens to your holy name is made mad with ecstatic love for Krishna and is able to deliver the three worlds. Simply by hearing your holy name, dog-eaters become holy saints. Your uncommon potencies cannot be described in words. And let's again connect this guna, rupa and lila in the holy name. All that what we heard now from the Nectar of Devotion, these features, Krishna himself, this is present in the holy name. So if you chant Krishna's name, we actually in seed form or like potentially manifest all these qualities of Krishna in our mind, depending how Krishna chooses also to be present in our mind. We heard recently the verse from the Bhagavatam when it was about Krishna encouraging the devotee who still has material desires and not being able to give it up. Still, he should practice while engaging in sense enjoyment. And Krishna said, when you once install me in your heart, you will move on, and he will still be there, although a person is not pure. It was an interesting quote from the 11th canto, chapter 20, I think 27 to 30, these verses. So this can strengthen or should strengthen our meditation while we chant the holy name, to be more and more aware who is it that we glorify with this chanting. Because chanting is singing, we use it as praise, we use it as prayer. There are different functions to the holy name, and it is about the jiva becoming fully aware of who Krishna is and what the relationship between me and Krishna is. And all the shastras, they support us, or they give us the ability to visualize Krishna, to get to know him better, particularly the Nectar of Devotion. The 6 Goswamis, they were doing this great service for all mankind by, as I said, Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako, that they scrutinizingly studied all the revealed scriptures, and with the aim to establish the highest or like eternal religious principles for the benefit of the whole world. So one of these books is the Nectar of Devotion, where we can very distinctively see different features of Krishna, how they're being described, particularly by Srila Prabhupada, because the Nectar of Devotion that we have here, it's actually a condensed version. The actual version of Rupa Goswami is larger and more technical. There are many more terms, and it's also fascinating to read, but Srila Prabhupada here put it in a way that is easier to read for those who are not familiar with these texts. Because so many technical terms, you ideally know Sanskrit already to get to follow up with what Rupa Goswami is saying. So in the last verse that we read today, the 125, is to say nothing of the spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face. Even a person born in a family of dog-eaters becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada stating, for an explanation of this verse, go to Madhya-līlā chapter 16, text 186. And there in the purport, he is emphasizing Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam, how the chanting is the only and supreme method. And then he points out like how actually a person initiated in the Maha Mantra is capable to perform sacrifice. Actually, there wouldn't even be a need to second initiate. He says that literally, but he says, okay, we do in our movement, we initiate secondly so that sacrifices can be performed. We do not allow that, but it's more so far as I understand it, to not upset unnecessarily the whole cultural arrangements by the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. So, but simply it is highlighted, the holy name, it's the only thing needed actually to become a qualified person to perform all these religious activities that are mentioned in the Vedas. Because we might get into the understanding, once Madhavananda Prabhu was also speaking on that we think, yeah, Nam Diksha is good, but actually to really advance you need the second initiation, Gayatri Mantra. And it's true, the Gayatri Mantra is highlighted as actually very confidential mantras for those who are more advanced, but one should not conclude that it's more powerful or like important to chant Gayatri Mantra than Maha Mantra. This is just not. Often Srila Prabhupada established certain culture which is to be there, but one should always have the meditation in the holy name, Maha Mantra, everything is in there. And one need only to sincerely endeavor to chant this name properly, to absorb in it, and to become a dedicated servant of the holy name. Then all auspicious characteristics, features will develop, and one will become a proper Vaishnava, so to speak. Hare Krishna. So let's open up for questions, comments, discussions.
So, I have a question about the chanting. Sometimes we also hear Srila Prabhupada said when he was asked, like, what should I think when I'm chanting? It's like, don't think, just listen. Mm-hmm. But still we cannot stop thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's my experience, yeah.
Yeah, my also.
Some maybe do.
Yeah, some maybe can. But now when I chant and I try just to listen, my mind starts to wander wherever he wants, you know. I'm still repeating the mantra, but the mind is wherever. So what would do you have a tip or a trick? What is how can we bind the mind to the mantra? Should we? I mean, I heard we shouldn't artificially start to think of Krishna, but when it comes automatically, then it's good. Mm-hmm. So what would you say?
I mean, it's true. The emphasis is on first properly hearing it and chanting it. In the Madhya-līlā, I would have to find the quote, but Srila Prabhupada in one purport points out how it is important to utter the name clearly and loudly, moving your facial muscles. He mentions that particularly, that you open your mouth and the name comes clearly and laudable out of your mouth, that you hear it. Often mumble chanting is not recommended. Yeah, is it there? Huh? Yeah. Because mumbling is tendency to drift away. Because you have to focus on clearly speaking each word and hearing it. You know, sometimes also with speaking, you know, I also for some time, I got sometimes the feedback, you speak very fast and sometimes you swallow up words. And I thought, okay, I got to pay attention to not be too quick. And this, similarly, if you make a decision, let me chant clear and loud, and then we have to be present with that. And another aspect is make it important to chant properly. So we recently spoke about that also. To make a priority, saying, okay, for me it's now very important to chant my japa as good as possible. Ideally for the glorification of Krishna, but maybe in the first place it's about simply doing it proper in a formal way, so to speak. And yes, I practiced this for a long time, trying to be really simply focused on hearing each name, saying each name, and being present with it. And at the same time, because our mind, also the mind goes up and down, sometimes not so inspired, and as we know it, for me, what I said today, it was also very, not just helpful, I find it even necessary. The more I also have katha, or like hear about Krishna, I can develop interest, faith, and up to strong determination to chant this name, because I'm aware, like, who's this person I'm praying to, or give praise to, or chanting about. You know, if my sadhana does not involve really feeding my mind with Krishna qualities, pastimes, and Guna, Rupa, Lila, and about his forms, and then I will have less possibility to feel really attracted. While chanting, I might not particularly necessarily think of a particular form, but if it's there in the mind, if the mind has that, like, it develops a feeling. My experience was in the last 2 years more influenced, like, also with the Vishnu Tattva, with the Vishnu forms. And even if I don't chant, or if I don't think of particular this form while I chant, I know, like, or even the mind is also subconscious. If it is connected emotionally to one particular form because you feed it, then also it will automatically flow into your chanting. And it will be nice to chant, and you can think, oh yeah, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and you have it in your mind much more than if not. Is this satisfying? Hare Krishna. Okay, well, Alexei and then Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu.
I just would like to share some advice from Srila Prabhupada to this point. It was told by Shuta Kirti Prabhu, the personal servant of Srila Prabhupada, and he mentioned it in the lecture. While Srila Prabhupada was chanting, he used to move his beats like on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and then stop on Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And this binds actually one's hearing to the movement. And I realized that when I do this trick, then I notice very fast when my mind drifts off, because the movement stops. When you don't hear, you perceive that there is no movement anymore, something is wrong, and then you start again to move the beats inside the beat bag. And this is very helpful actually. It is somehow making one attentive.
Thanks for sharing.
Something to Philip's question. If you fall in love to somebody, all your thoughts are there. That means the question is how to fall in love with Krishna. Then it's easy. And as more you know about him, as more you like him. And to the Gayatri Mantra, in this book, Gayatri Mantra from Satyananda Swami, he writes that the Gayatri Mantra helps us to connect with the Hare Krishna Mantra. That means Hare Krishna Mantra is higher.
Also, one more detail. Sometimes we hear also from different instructing gurus or senior Vaishnavas, always the point is mentioned with, sometimes the word affection is used, chant the name with some affection, or sometimes very broad with some feeling, which I guess comes into affection. And what also my experience is with the chanting, a particular melodious way. You don't have to like make a bhajan out of it, like but like have some melodious way that kind of helps you to connect also emotionally a bit more with that. And if you like, in this kind of mechanic kind of, way, then also your mind might not be really join in so much as if you would have some kind of tune that allows you to also have some feeling while you chant it, some affection.
Thank you very much for the class. I just was reminded when you talked about these lines on the hand, I actually met a person who in Jagannath Puri, this has been a long time, but have actually seen a person with lines making a kanshal and a lotus. Like some pujari or something like that. Apparently, it's not only Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but there's also
great personalities.
Great personalities. Yeah. They have, these lines. They form these beautiful symbols.
That's nice. Yeah, I have none of them. All right. Then thank you very much. Grantavat Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.